Hello everyone, this is the English for in software engineering class. Um, Today we are going to talk about the first module topics and we are going to describe our course. Some of you have told me about the activity that is called glossary. We are going to work on glossary from next week and on. So we are going to have three glossaries in this course. Those glossaries we are going to start from next week. Remember that we can take advantage of this video class because you can watch it on this this live, or you can watch it after we finish in the link corresponding to the video classes in the platform. So we're going. My name is Julian Andres Uni. I'm going to be your teacher for this course. Remember that you can reach me through the email of the platform, or you can call me to the 546 0600. The extension of this office is 1212. Okay, so we are going to start right now. Just give me 1 second and I'll be with you. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is to watch our presentation for today's class. First, I'm going to introduce you to the topic that we're going to work on, and then we are going to work on the parts of our class. Uh, so let's get started. So for today, we're going to practice the topics that we're going to work for module number 1. Then the topics are past continuous, simple past, and phrasal verbs. So remember that we have all these contents in our material of the course. For the module number 1, we have a PDF file where you can find all this information, but I'm going to explain you this for you to give us, well, to have a better understanding of the topics. So the first topic, past continuous. Past continuous is an structure that allows us to to um, express that a situation has been happening in the past for a period of time. So you can say that something, for example, the rain was happening in a certain period of time. For example, yesterday it was raining too much. So the structure that we're going to use as usual is subject plus the auxiliary verb, that is the verb to be, with the corresponding conjugation that are was or were. Then we are going to add the verb, the main verb of the sentence with the ending ing. Remember, ing plus the complement if we have it. In this case, they were reading a book. They were reading a book. They, that is the subject, were, that is the verb be conjugated for this person, this subject, then the verb, the main verb, that is reading, and then the complement. So we have the affirmative form for the past continuous tense. Now, moving through the negative form, we are going to have the subject plus the auxiliary verb with the not word, or we can use the contraction that is I'm going to show you in a while. Then we add the verb, the main verb of the sentence with the ending with ing plus the complement. So we have in here, they were not reading a book. He was not playing the piano. So I'm going to show you, the this, the contracted form. In here, for example, we're going to talk about this negative. So they were not reading a book. Oh, sorry, I wanted to expand it in here. So we have these were not, and we can say they weren't reading a book. It weren't reading a book. So this is exactly the same to saying they were not reading. So we deleted the letter O and we compacted the two words. We merged them into one word, one simple word. Okay, another annotation that I want to have in here. Oh, I have another one here. Remember the verb be conjugation in past. Verb to be past. So I or or he or she or it use was. The other ones you, they, and we use were. We were. We were, they were, we were. So remember those two conjugations for the verb to be, because in here we only have the example with they and we're here. Okay, about questions, remember that in English we only use the final question mark, only the final. We don't use the two of the question marks like we do in Spanish. We only use the final one. And in here we have the WH question, that is these two words. But we can have the questions also with the auxiliary verbs. So as usual for questions, what we do is to replace or to move the auxiliary to the beginning of the sentence. In here, were they reading a book? Were they reading a book? You see, in this sentence, we moved this auxiliary verb to the beginning, and the other part is the same. They were reading a book. Were they reading a book? We only changed these two words. We switched them the order. So remember that these WH questions give us the opportunity to know more information about on a specific topic. Okay, about the rules for the ing ending words, remember that we have to add the particle, this suffix ing to the verb. So if the verb ends with an e like this, we're going to delete that letter and write ing. In this case, for run, if it is an one syllable word, we're going to double the final letter. This is one syllable, and we have consonant, vo this vowel, and another consonant. Consonant, vowel, consonant. We only are going to write two times the final letter and the ing. And for working, in here we only add the ing. Past simple. This is our second topic. So we already finished the past continuous. Now we're going to move to the past simple. In here, we have to remember that we have to add the ed. Past simple is just things that already happened in the past. Yesterday I did laundry at home, so it was already finished. That it's not gonna happen today because I did yesterday. So, for example, yesterday I catch a bus. It was yesterday, not today. So in here we have the example with the verb work. For the past, for regular, we are going to add the ed. Now later I'm going to show you some rules for these past simple verbs. Okay, this is the affirmative or positive form. We only add the ed. We have subject, verb with the ed and the complement. But in here we don't have it. For example, I worked yesterday at my office. In here we have the negative form. So it is more usual to use the contracted form. Instead of this, did not, that is correct too, we use more likely these, didn't. So in this part, in this way, we can say that, well, mention the negative form for the simple past. And now we are going to move to the question form or the interrogative form. So as usual, we are going to move the auxiliary, that in this case is did or didn't, to the beginning of the sentences of the sentence. We have to move up in here to the beginning and the same, that is like if we're a positive form. But check this out, we don't mark the ed at the end. We only leave the verb with the form, the correct form, that is the normal or the basic form, because in English we cannot conjugate twice the same verb. No, we cannot conjugate it two times. Only if we mention this, that is our auxiliary, we cannot mark the verb with the ending with ed. Okay, so we are going to show you some rules to conjugate verbs in past. For the regular verbs, we are going to add ed if it ends in consonant, like this one. But be careful. If it ends in y, that in English is not a consonant, it's a vowel. We are going to replace the y for ied, this part. Study, studied. In this part, we are going to, oh, well, in here, as far as we have already an E, we're going to add only the D at the end. So consonant, add ED. Y, add, change the Y for I and ED. And ends in E, we're going to add D. Now, remember that in English and in Spanish and in every language, we have irregular verbs. So these irregular verbs, we're going to look for the list. Remember that in your high school, maybe you had to print out a long list, like 5 pages list of verbs. We're going to look for that list. And the simple past is the second column. For example, bring, brought, buy, both. fight, fought, seek, sought, think, thought. Yes, we're going to look for that. That's the way we conjugate these irregular verbs. Now, moving to the next topic, we are going to talk about the phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are some verbs that have a merging, like need another like word to express a different signification. For example, bail out. Bail out maybe could be something different if the word didn't have it wouldn't have this out word. But as far as it is joined, they are closed, they are linked together. So this has a different signification. For example, in Spanish, we have some words that doesn't mean what they want to mean. When we say that something or someone is burned, that doesn't mean that someone is burned with fire, but because of the amount of work. The same happens with these kind of verbs. For example, ramp up is to increase the interest or support for someone, you know, to give a support, to hold someone. So, depending on the situation, a specific topic that we need, we will find a long list of phrasal verbs. So, just look for it. And in our material for the module, we are going to have a longer list of phrasal verbs that we are going to use for our tasks. Okay, so now I am going to show you our class. So remember that we are in level 4 of software engineering. Yeah, just let me check if anybody's in the house. And remember that we can check this class when it finishes. Okay. Uh, in our guía didáctica folder, we have our plan de formación y cronograma de actividades and bases de datos. Um, those are the main documents that we're going to use from this folder. So in here we have the cronograma actividades. So it's our schedule. You can click on these links to lead you to the activity. So for module number 1, we're going to work in past continuous, past simple, phrasal verbs, and possessives using the apostrophe s. Um, all these topics are in this folder number 1 that it says Material de Estudio in here. Then we have this that is a task, this assignment, and that is called action script timeline. So we are going to work in this timeline. We are going to work on developing these activities using past continuous, simple past, phrasal verbs, and the possessives. So what you have to do, you have to create a timeline. So you can use any web tool to design a timeline, since Prezi to Tildipity, or whatever you want to do to design this timeline. And we are going to work on past, using past tense. So we are going to talk about the action script evolution. I know that in these current times we're not longer working with action script, that we have different languages to develop or um, to design software. But we're going to talk about this evolution that is a certain type of history. So if it is history, we are going to use past. So remember that in here, you're not learning on how to use ActionScript, but you're learning how to use these grammar topics. So don't don't get mad while I'm asking you to talk about ActionScript, but focus more on the development of the activity using the correct topics in terms of grammar. Okay, you have to when you have the timeline, create a video. So this is not only for to create a timeline, it is to present it by orally. When I ask you to design a video is because I want to listen to your oral presentation. So I need you to present with your own voice and with you appearing on the camera. So the idea is that you can use a screencast-o-matic to record your presentation. When you have the video presenting your timeline, you send that video through this assignment. In here, you can down here you can send the activity the assignment. Uh, what you should deliver the oral presentation in video. You can send. Well, if you prefer, I can correct your text without recording before next Friday or before next Friday because I'm going to be uh, checking them this coming Saturday. So if you don't, you only send me the video maximum on the next Sunday at midnight. Try not to read during your presentation, and please don't use translator. It is evident when you do it. So if you well, if you want a better rating, you're going to have these into account. What else? In here we have these activities, and then we have our quiz for the module number 1. From next week and on, we are going to work on glossary. So we only have 3 of them. You must know already how to work with them. So in here we have the instructions. We are going to continue using the strategy with Evernote. That is the application that we have chosen for this activity. Remember that if you need extra information from this that is in the instructions, you can send me an email. The words to define during the next week, I'm going to publish them on Monday. So this is all for today. Remember that you can ask for information as far as you need them. And my name is Julian Andres Unim. Thank you for being here with us. I hope you can take advantage of this English course. And if you need any help, please let me know through the email or calling me to the landline that is 546-0600 and the extension 1212. Thank you very much for joining this activity, and I'm really happy that you be here with me. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.